Hey everyone, this is Steven, the calculator guy, and I would just want to do a quick update on Tokemak. So they're getting farther along in the process of creating these reactors for protocols, and I think it's about time I understood what they were going to do and why so many really big protocols were interested in them. I mean, for example, we have 1inch, Aave, Sushi, Ohm, Spell, Frax, Rune, Cream. Like, these are not small protocols. ZRX, these are very large protocols, and for some reason, they all want reactors. So what is a reactor, and why do protocols want it? Well, if you've been watching my video, you can see that the majority of money to be made in DeFi comes from either being early on really big projects, or being involved with parts of the solution to liquidity. So Ohm is trying to provide one solution to liquidity, which is allowing protocols to own their own liquidity and also bootstrapping liquidity for new protocols. We're going to see that in the future with Ohm. I'm very excited for that. Tokemak is also looking to solve liquidity problems. How are they doing that? Well, they're doing that through reactors. So the very basic idea is that protocols will provide only their own coins, and investors will democratically delegate their own toke coins to the other side of what would be considered an LP token. So, for example, Frax, Alchemix, TCR, Tracer, and Ohm were all the winners of their own reactors. And Sushi. And if you should think for a second, like, Sushi last minute threw a ton of money, in my opinion, to win or earn a reactor. And if Sushi Swap, arguably one of the biggest swaps, I mean inarguably actually, one of the biggest swaps in DeFi, wants a reactor to help them with liquidity issues, clearly Tokemak is a very interesting protocol, and clearly there's something to it. So, what does Tokemak do? Basically, as far as my brain can understand it from my brief readings and watchings. Well, breathe. The basic idea is that the protocol, as I said, will provide half of liquidity, and then the other half of liquidity will be provided democratically by investors. And the reactors will be, so here you can see Alchemix already has 42.5 million, and you can also democratically, provide these, but the protocol can also provide it themselves. So we have 40% of what they want provided, 50% here. Tracer almost done. I don't know why it says 75%, and it looks like way less than that. Ohm, we'll see what happens with Ohm. I think, I don't know. I'm confused as to why anyone would deposit their own Ohm when they could stake it for a much higher APR, but who knows? Beats me. Sushi, they're not open yet because they're still governing how they want to run this thing. But what we're going to see is the APR over here is going to be determined by the liquidity needs of these reactors or these protocols. So if Alchemix needs more liquidity, the APR will increase here, so more people will be incentivized to drop their token into here. And if they have too much liquidity or if it's lopsided liquidity, the APR will reduce. So these will be sort of self-balancing. Additionally, the APR will be very, what's the word for it? Very attractive in comparison to other single-side staking opportunities. Now, what? Oh, this is APR. This is not percent full. So this is APR. That's why 75% looks so small. 75% APR on Tracer, or 50%. This is nice. I mean, these two are really nice APRs on Alchemix and Frax. So what we're going to see is dynamically changing APR based on the liquidity needs of these reactors and these protocols. incentivizing democratically people to provide the other side of liquidity. And this is single-sided liquidity, so you're completely protected from impermanent loss. Right now, if you do liquidity pool L2, pool 2, mining, or liquidity providing, you're always sort of at risk of impermanent loss. If you don't know what impermanent loss is, the very basics of it are if one of the two coins in the liquidity pool that you're providing increases or decreases at a rate different from the other token, one of those two tokens will be sold or traded to balance out the 50-50 ratio. So let's say you have USDC in one half of your pool and you have Ethereum or Ohm in the other half, and the Ethereum or Ohm or Frax or Alchemix, whatever it is, goes way up. So now this is imbalanced, has to be 50-50, so it'll sell some of that coin in order to balance. So you're going to be missing out on some of your gains, as opposed to if you only held that crypto. Like if you only held Alchemix or only held Ohm or only held ETH or whatever it is, you would have realized all of that gain if it was single-sided, but because it's two-sided, you're going to be losing some of that gain by selling it back into the other coin, the other half, in order to keep that 50-50 balance. So one of the major benefits here is that it's going to be single-side staking of Toke, or single-side staking of Alchemix, Frax, Tracer, Ohm, Sushi, or if you look at the core, you'll also see all these other protocols that may soon be coming, including Aave, 1inch, Spell. Very excited about Link, right? I mean, say what you will about Link. People look at the charts, they say, come on, Link, what are you doing? You're just sort of trading sideways, you're going down, you're only moving up slowly. I would have been better with ETH, but Link as technology is amazing. I think the same could be said about the graph. Like, sure, it might not be mooning, but like what it provides to the space is just chef's kiss. So like when you see these really robust protocols wanting a piece of this, you can imagine that the problems that this may solve are big. So is new Medium article, do we have the roadmap here? The interesting thing is that in November, we're going to start seeing these things open up. We're going to start seeing the live democratized Toke APR providing start happening. It may be in here, but so these are the first 5 token reactors we're going to see, and they're going to start working in mid-November. And so what you might see is a lot of people start to purchase Toke to provide these reactors. It's possible. What you might see is this whole, well, this thing could not work the way it's meant to work initially, right? It could be the case that there's going to be some bugs initially, that the math behind determining the APR based on liquidity pool need is going to be a little bit wonky, but we're going to see. It's going to be very interesting to see how it all works out. But I'm super excited about this. I'm not excited because I understand the math, which I wish I did. I don't know much math. I don't know what goes on with market making in general. But the basic idea is if you have liquidity in various different locations and you want price stability in those locations and you want to avoid people dumping your coin or sort of harming your price, you want either to own your own liquidity or to have control over your own liquidity. And Ohm and Tokemak both offer that opportunity. Tokemak, when they both sort of democratize it, but what I think will happen as the result of this DeFi 2.0 renaissance in the DeFi space is that during a bear market, we may see less extreme price volatility. And that is because liquidity of these larger protocols that are working to either own their own protocol or have access to ownership over or have access to control over their own liquidity are going to have much higher levels of price stability. They're not going to be able to be dumped on as easily. And the protocols that don't have access to these DeFi 2.0 protocols are going to be hurting in a bear season or bear market. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm bullish on Toke also, as an aside against the technology. This Toke Uni LP and this Toke Sushi LP in the past, I want to say 2 months, has only gone down from, I think, around 330 to 230. Now, if you're familiar with LPs in general, that's very good to last that long at such high APRs, especially for a protocol like Toke, which has a lot of big attention. So look at this USDC in the 2 months, maybe 2.5 months that I've been watching this USDC here, it has gone from 40% to 26%, which is incredibly good APR for a stablecoin. The Ethereum 12%, Toke 63%, and these are all APRs. Now the problem is it's on the Ethereum blockchain, so if you wanted to turn that APR into APY, it would cost you a bunch of gas to compound. Not so much for the Toke, because you're getting Toke tokens as rewards. All you have to do is claim and restake 2 transactions. But for the LPs, you have to claim, then you have to sell half to the other half of the LP. So in this case, Sushi, or in this case, Uni. Actually, no, these are ETH. So in this case, you would sell half for ETH, and then you'd create the token, and then you would stake the token. It's like 4 transactions. And 4 Ethereum transactions can be more than your rewards are. So also, Toke hit 1 billion TVL. Amazing. So the basic idea is, what is Toke doing? They're solving liquidity pool. They're solving liquidity issues in DeFi. How are they doing it? Well, they're allowing protocols to rent their own liquidity or have control over their own liquidity and the market-making processes. Now, if you know more about market-making processes and why a protocol having control over market-making processes would be really bullish for protocols, like, Alchemix, Aave, Ohm, Tracer, Sushi, and why maybe these huge names in the DeFi space are so willing to do a lot to get their reactors, please let me know in the comments. I'm excited to understand this more as well. If it wasn't for the huge names trying to get their hands on reactors, I probably wouldn't be as interested, but clearly Tokemak has raised some very big eyebrows. So I know this wasn't the most technical video, but I do want to put Tokemak back on your radar. I know I've been really off chain lately. If you watch my videos, you know I'm on Phantom very much. I'm waiting on Harmony 1 because I think Harmony 1 is going to be the next big space once they get their balancer clone live. So don't sleep on Harmony 1. If you want to start slowly accumulating some 1 tokens the same way you may have, if you were lucky, you may have slowly been accumulating some Phantom tokens, because Phantom is way up now. I think 1 is going to be in that direction in the future. Then go ahead. Not financial advice. Don't get mad at me if it doesn't happen. But those are the ways that I see the tides turning. But as far as Ethereum goes, this is certainly one of the most interesting protocols on the Ethereum blockchain right now. It's aiming to solve some of the biggest issues in DeFi, especially some of the biggest issues in bear market DeFi. So this is like getting prepared for battle, right? Building up these reactors, having control over liquidity, having control over your market making, not allowing people to dump and break your protocols, not allowing people to trash your coin price on a whim, especially those people who provide LP. Okay, think that's just about it. One more tiny tidbit. I like providing liquidity via LP tokens because it makes me money. However, I understand why it's not the best for protocols. Protocols generally have to offer large incentives to get people to provide LPs. And once they can no longer provide those incentives, or once providing those incentives no longer becomes a solvent option, the incentive will decrease. When the incentive decreases, what happens is those really big bags or small bags like mine, will put our money in a different location where the incentive is higher. effectively dumping the price. So for smaller protocols that can only really start up on a few different platforms with LPs, what are they supposed to do? So bootstrapping liquidity for new protocols is something that I think is going to be huge, especially as many new protocols enter the space, as more and more people learn Solidity, and as blockchain technology, blockchain programming, blockchain protocols becomes more and more commonplace in the world. All right, I know not many investment opportunities mentioned in this video, but Tokemak has big things happening in November. Now, news, if you follow Professor Keith or Keith Lay, he's a great guy, amazing TA. He would tell me that news only has a 15% correlation with price. Charts have a 60% correlation with price. So he would always follow the charts. So just because there's big news coming in November does not mean there's going to be a lot of price action, but it's still going to be exciting to see what precipitates as the result of these things going live. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day.